Hi everybody, I am so excited. Today is it's the first time I do this, to bring someone else alive with me here on a Facebook Live. Jensine from World Pulse. I've been chatting you up all week, getting you excited to meet her and find out all about what she's doing. I'm a very big advocate right now for everything she stands for, and we're going to have a really beautiful conversation. And the conversation I want to have today, because we are on this theme of reclamation this week and the following week, and as we're following this theme of reclamation, what Jensine is doing, what she's standing for, is helping. I will let you, Jensine, say how many people it's helping, but it's a lot of people that you're helping. It's really amazing. And what I want to talk about, because you're so inspiring to me and to this community, one of the things that I love about this community is we face current reality, kind of like the stuff, but then we get creative. And that's what I see you doing in a climate where women are getting more divisive, where they're tearing each other down, where there's all this stuff happening. You're actually bringing people together. So I want to welcome you into the call. So everyone, this is Jensine. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. It's Jensine, live from Portland, Oregon. Great to see you, Saida. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself? Like, how did this all start for you?
Absolutely. So the thing I could say about me is that with every single cell of my body, I believe that the creative human potential of women and girls is the greatest untapped resource in our planet today. And I had the vision of World Pulse. It actually began when I was a young girl. I was very, very shy. I was homeschooled and I grew up in a rural, isolated part of the United States. And I just kept dreaming about wanting to see the truth of the world and reading through my books. And finally, I decided I wanted to travel the world. And I became a freelance journalist at 19 years old. I went to the Amazon rainforest. I met with incredible women leaders who were struggling with oil contamination on their traditional lands, and their families were dying, their children of cancers. And they said, please take our story, please be our messenger. So from there, I went to the Burma-Thai border, and women refugees also were asking me to be their messenger. It was the same similar cry. And I suddenly saw the vision of World Pulse, and I realized that I didn't merely want to be a messenger for these women, but I wanted there to be a communication source where they could be their own messengers and speak for themselves to the world. And also, more importantly, not feel so alone, where they could actually connect to each other. And as you're saying, Saida, how important it is at this moment in our planet to connect women instead of being the divide and conquer that's currently happening. Absolutely.
And I'm so curious, because you call your organization World Pulse. I get the World Pulse because it's the word part, that's the whole world. But Pulse, I mean, I love it. It turns me on. But can you share a little about that? I know people ask you this question a lot, but I just would love for the listeners to hear your take on that.
Yes, the pulse, it stands for this electric rising pulse of women's voices rising across the world. It's very alive, and it came directly from the vision, because when I saw World Pulse, it was this pulsing blue light that happened when a woman unlocked her voice. When she spoke, the light would come out of her throat, and it would activate other women's voice by seeing it. And it created this virtuous cycle of this building pulse across the planet.
You can and make that's me what cry.
And that's what's happening. We're seeing this, whether it's from the Me Too, the collective power and sense of solidarity and safety when another woman speaks and you see yourself in that. It gives you courage to speak your truth. And this is a phenomenon we've only begun to see the tip of the iceberg.
I absolutely agree. I think one of the greatest transformation pieces that we have access to as women, like that belongs to us, that we can actualize, is the voice. is our story, is our truth. And then the other piece that actually is equal to that is our capacity to listen. And so I know, could you tell us a little how it works? Because I know that you encourage the women to share their stories and there's a safe space for them to do that. So could you explain a little how World Pulse is set up?
Yes, absolutely. So you're right. We call it a sanctuary often. It's a safe digital online community. The community itself today, there's over 64,000 primarily women leaders, but about 10% incredible men who are part of it. And how it happens, which is just incredible, and that membership is going on to impact over 7.6 million lives with their new businesses, their new initiatives, their new movements as a result of gaining confidence through their connections. So how it works is you yourself, where you're sitting there today, can log on. There's an app you can download, whether it's a Google Play or an iPhone, or you can just use your laptop. You go on and you do register. That's a safety mechanism for us. It's not open. It's heavily moderated and a safe space. You have to register to comment or to make a post. The fundamental unit of connection is through the story. So every woman speaks, it's unedited, it's her own truth. It might be her experience coming out as a trans person or as a lesbian or losing a child or starting a social enterprise to end child marriage, let's say. And when she says that story, you can search. So you can search across topic or region and find the stories and find the leaders you want to connect with. You can learn from her by reading her story, but then you can comment and encourage her. And the encouragement and the commenting is the biggest way that women are gaining that sense of voice and confidence, which is, as you say, so incredible, that active listening. And when she feels heard, that's when a whole catalytic new set of actions take place that she can do.
I love that. I love that because I think that shame grows in silence and in the shadows. And so in a lot of the stories, we feel shame, right? There are things that have happened that aren't okay in our society. It's hard to talk about. Whether it is, like you said, all those things, or even just going into menopause. I mean, these are difficult issues for women that we're facing. It sounds petty, but it's not. And it's this heavy conditioning. So I love that you have this huge platform. So anybody basically can join, but you have to register in order to comment and support. And you can share your own story. So ladies, if you're listening to this, it's not just the women in all these other countries. It's also your story. Can be part of this. So tell us a little more, because I know you also have a way of liberating the ladies, like you teach them skills. So what's happening with that? Because I find that piece very exciting, and it's the piece where my company wants to be supporting your company. So I'd love the women to understand how their own, if they were to invest, what where their money would go.
Absolutely. So the three main areas that World Pulse is creating transformation is voice, network, and resources. She gets a greater sense of voice. She can build a greater global support network around her. And then you mentioned the last one is resources. So she can access opportunities, fellowships, scholarships. You can post something if you'd like to offer something. And women are gaining new mentors and all types of things that way. But the most fundamental resource we offer is what we call digital empowerment training. And that is so often many of these women leaders coming on are just learning social networking skills. And we train them how to tell your story, multimedia storytelling, whether it's video or audio or written form, in a way that causes people to notice and to sit up and pay attention to you. And we teach women how to build online movements, how to build their own digital action campaigns, and how to basically create a broader network around themselves, to connect to influencers, to connect to that cheerleading squad of sisters that's going to be there for you no matter what as you go through the difficult struggles. So the training part is very powerful, and we have worked out that if you look at investment, for every $30 enables World Pulse to support one woman to access the services on World Pulse, the access to the greater voice, connection, and resources. And so $100 investments means you're going to support 3 women. But that's not all. Those 3 women, when we do our impact tracking, because we do studies every single year with our membership, and they tell us that on average each woman impacts 2,000 more in her community through her digital action campaign, whether it's increased literacy for women and girls, or increased access to economic opportunity, or maybe just participating in a campaign that ends female genital mutilation, or ending breast ironing, for example. These are all things that women are working against, these horrific traditions of suppressing women's bodies and minds and spirits, these harmful traditional practices. Our community is fighting those tooth and nail and transforming those cultures.
That's amazing. And so I want to say this again, just for the listeners, because what I'm doing right now is, I'm obviously inviting people to learn with me through the My Reclamation journey that we're on. And so every person who invests in that, they will be leveraged. And what you just said is that not only are they leveraging like a person, that person leverages another 2,000. So imagine having, as a privileged woman who's able to invest in herself, having the ability to impact, like that turned me on so much. Like, wow, it's like a pay it forward in a massive way. It's so exciting. And even if you don't do what I'm doing, you can still support World Pulse completely separately as well. We're not like a sister thing, but I really love and appreciate and respect you, Jensine, and what you're doing and what you're leading. Could you share with us just like one short little story of someone in the huge, 7.6 million of all these people? Like, there must be a few stories that stand out for you, just to touch our hearts in terms of that transformation and what happens when we support one another as women.
Yes, of course, it's so hard to pick one, but what just pops into my mind right away, which is a beautiful story about a woman in Colorado whose daughter was born with a disability. And this woman was writing the story about her daughter, and her daughter passed away at 18 years old. And this mother was so sad, so distraught. She wrote an eulogy in honor of her daughter. It was called The Butterfly, and about how her daughter was perfect in every which way, and not disfigured, but was the perfect being on this planet. And so many women around the world related to that story, especially women with disabilities, and commented on her story and thanked her, because in her story they saw themselves as perfect, and they felt connected to her. And this mother made friends with women around the world in honor of her daughter. And in particular, there's one woman named Celine in Nigeria who was born with kyphosis. Her spine was bent, and she's born with this stunted growth. And this woman leader, they bonded, and the mother had set aside money for her daughter to care for her into old age. But now that her daughter had passed on, she decided to donate all the money for her daughter to Celine in Nigeria. And it was a miracle for Celine, who had when you're in Nigeria, there's no rights for people with disabilities. You're a beggar on the street. And to be able to, and there's no wheelchair accessibility or anything like that, to be bestowed this gift, she immediately created a center supporting women with disabilities, including blind women. And she's serving tens of thousands of women and girls with disabilities across Nigeria. Plus, she started a radio program so that it's reaching millions of people with disabilities into homes, so that they can see themselves as whole and unite and connect with each other.
Oh my God.
And that they're still friends to this day, this woman in Colorado. And so this beautiful gift of her daughter passing on carried over into enormous change in Nigeria.
Sounds like it, because I could feel it in my heart. And what I want to point out here, because this is a language that my community understands, is that here's a woman who took one of her greatest wounds, the loss of her beloved daughter, and it became her point of power. She actually, transformed the wound into a gift. And that's really what reclamation is about for me. It's recognizing that the wound has a gift within it. And it's that gift that can actually change the world if we lean in and we tell our story and we come together and we support each other. So I am just a little bit teary and just very emotional right now in a very good way. I feel really amazed. I'm wondering if there's anything you would love this particular community of women to know in terms of, their own personal journey and the reclaiming of their bodies and their voices. Because sometimes we feel like when we're women who are privileged, living in North America, etc., that we don't really count or matter in these types of things. Like women who are really severely in need, their stories matter. But I'm really not that badly off. I've had a few things. But so if you could speak to that, because I think it's important. Because World Pulse is all women. It's not just one or two. Yes. It's all women on the planet. So.
Saida, it's so fascinating to me how our life calling is that in which we have our greatest growth and work to do. And for those of you who may have counted yourselves as shy when you were younger, that's definitely me. And I still carry that shyness inside, but by following this stream of World Pulse, has been about finding my voice and fighting up against that thing that is hardest for me to get up in front of people and to speak and to trust that calling has been my life's work. And to have, actually when I met with Jane Goodall, she was my greatest teacher. When I told her, I'm so tired of this being about me, and I want it to be all about the voices and to be center stage, and I just want to fade away into the background and disappear, and it's exhausting, and I'm so tired of speaking around the country. And Jane Goodall said to me, she said, I'd rather be in the forest working with the gorillas. Are you kidding? But Jensine, what you've been given is your greatest gift, and you need to own it and claim it. And I find that when I get on, I'm still nervous as Jane Goodall when I get on stage every time too. What? And and I get filled up when the kids come to me. I get refilled up, and I allow myself to get refilled up. And she speaks 300 days out of the year as a 72-year-old woman at that time. And so that helped me get out of my own way, of my own privilege, and I was allowing myself to hold myself back in the greatness of my voice and realize the power that it had. And so I think for those of you, some of you, that may be it, that shyness or that tentativeness of what do I have to offer, what do I have to give, and I can't encourage you more to just take that breath and just jump into whatever it is you're calling. And then for those of you who are feeling, my experiences, especially those of us who have power, we do tend to deny it because it's a bit easier that way. We do tend to allow a sense of guilt, and I'm not sure what I would say. What do I say to a woman who's been through war and genocide when I've had it so easy? And what I can say to you is that what I know is that the women say it is precious. It is huge just to reach out your hand and say, I'm here. I'm here. It doesn't mean you have to go to Uganda and build a school for girls. they say the number one thing is that if someone's on the other end of the line, somebody cares about me, I can keep going. I can keep doing what I'm doing. So you don't have to mortgage your house or forsake everything and give up everything in your life to go save the world or save these women. What I know is they already know what they need to do. They have the clear vision. Mm-hmm. They are bursting. They are going to do it. What we have to do is just get up behind them and cheer them on and say, yes. If we don't have our own vision, we might have our own, which, yes, go girl, go do it. But if you don't have that and you just want to cheer on the women leaders, there is an army, armies upon armies upon armies of incredible warrior women of light. But they're invisible, they're feeling alone and isolated, and if you can get out there and just cheer them on, World Pulse is one way that you can do that very easily with a few clicks of a button to get there, to be there, and to use your emotion as a strength. I think sometimes we're afraid we're going to break. We're afraid we're doing so much in our lives, how can we take on this story? But I find when you do that, you come more alive. Yeah. What really matters becomes more alive in your life. You become more alive. Yeah. Your presence with your family becomes more alive. So embrace that aliveness. Embrace that emotion. We are emotional creatures. Mm-hmm. Embrace that strength as an emotional creature.
I love that you say that, because another premise of this community is that we're all powerful. And when we start to see women, no matter what's going on in their lives, what's so important, I think why I love you so much, why this is such an incredible organization, is that you don't stand there going, these are all victims and we need to give them charity and they're, they can't do it without us. No, you're standing there, these women are powerful, they're ready, they're doing it. All they need to know is that there's someone standing behind them going, I've got your back, I'm right here, I'm cheering you on. And that emotional support, that heart connection, that reflection that you're powerful, you've got this, is more empowering than anything else we could imagine. So I want to thank you for being that visionary, because it's exceptionally rare right now to find someone willing to really take a stand that we are all powerful. We really are. And we can support each other. As you said, it doesn't have to be like selling our house. And there's a strength in the collective support of, first of all, understanding that we're all powerful. Secondly, that we're all connected. And thirdly, through the medium of, we hate technology sometimes, but through this medium called technology, we can actually touch lives that normally we wouldn't touch. So I'm just really honored to have had you here today to share everything that you've shared. In the description above this video, there will be a link both to myreclamation.com, which is a free training right now if you really want to explore reclaiming, what it really means to be you, your heart, your body. And there's a link directly to World Pulse. So if you want to join that and support that and be a part of that, please check it out. Spread the word too. Share this video, go to the website and share it, because ever since I heard about you, which is only a few weeks ago through Sage Levine, right? She's like, you've got to meet this woman. And I'm like, I'm on fire. I got to meet her. I don't know what to do. And it was just so exciting. So that's the power of women and our hearts, right? We get touched and then it spreads and then everyone is elevated. So is there any last words that you would love to share with these amazing women? And I do have some men who follow me on my public page, so men and women who are here today with us.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, well, what I can say to the amazing men and women who are out there is just reach out and connect to these beautiful, powerful women of the world, because you're going to gain so much for your life. It's not about charity, it's about change. And I think this is one of the most exciting times in history where we can use technology for good, as you have said, Saida. And I am just with you and in awe and celebration of your work. The reclamation of our power as women is the work of our time.
Yeah.
So thank you for your voice and for everyone who's participating in this important work of your own transformation.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been so amazing. So again, the challenge, the dare, because I dare my community. So the dare that I have for you first is, your voice, like really allowing yourself to start to use it, to share your story, whether it's within the Daring Project, which a lot of you are part of, or going to World Pulse and sharing your story there. And also to just take action. Like, what would it mean today for you to reclaim not only your voice, but your body, your presence, that you matter, that because you're here, you matter. And whatever you dream of in your deep heart, it deeply matters. It's leading you. It's the unfoldment of your purpose. So please check the links. Please jump in, support World Pulse, join in myreclamation.com. It's been so amazing, Jensine, to have you here. I feel like we're best friends and we've never physically met. I can't wait to meet you someday. And I'm really looking forward to, as I said, I'm actually in a launch process, and a percentage of the proceeds that we raise in the next few weeks is all going to be gifted to those women. So there's high leverage, and I'm really, really, really excited to know that we're impacting literally thousands and thousands of lives. So thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody. Have
you.
an amazing day. Thank you, Jensine. You're incredible. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.